Hello everyone, this is the Traditionalist, and after a very long time, I am back. So for those of you wondering what's been going on, why I haven't uploaded in so long, basically I've mainly been focusing on my main channel, which again is Mike History 2, but then also basically for the entire summer, I was working at a Christian camp, and so obviously there I had more important priorities. But now that I'm back, and now that I finished my series on my main channel, I figured it was about time to make something. But what to choose? Well, soon an opportunity arose when I found out that our Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, is up to no good again. Now, it is well known that this channel is basically always criticizing him. I mean, this is like my 5th video on this guy, but this guy just can't stop messing up our country. And he's been in power now for 7 years, but I've only covered like the last 3 years. And even then, somehow he just keeps doing enough idiotic stuff to keep coming back on my channel again and again and again. So, let's see what our Prime Minister is up to this time. So, this is from an article from the Globe and Mail. It says, Canada invests $100 million with an M, $million into action plan for LGBTQ2S plus communities. So, I don't know if you guys can see the picture here, but it shows Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau joined supporters of Toronto's LGBTQ community as they march in one of North America's largest pride parades on June 23, 2019. Sorry, I thought it was the LGBTQ2S+. You need to remember the 2S+. Alright, the federal government has unveiled the details of its 5-year, $100 million plan to support LGBTQ, Two-Spirit, and intersex communities across the country. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau unveiled a strategy dubbed Canada's first federal 2SLGBTQI. Oh, so now there's an I plus action plan. The news conference ahead of the Pride Parade in Ottawa, the first in-person march after a 2-year hiatus due to COVID-19. And as someone who lives here, I am so glad that the Pride Parade's come back. I mean, I don't know how my summer could have ended without it. Mr., if you can even call him that, Trudeau said the plan is the first such federal initiative of its kind and said it demonstrates the government's commitment to fighting discrimination and supporting diversity. This will guide our ongoing work to fight discrimination, break down barriers, to advance rights, and to build a future where everyone in Canada is truly free to be who they are and love whom they love, as if that's not already the case and has been the case, since his so-called greatest Prime Minister father allowed, this stuff to start happening. He said 75%. So again, $100 million, $75 million of the funding will go toward community organizations focused on diversity and inclusion, because that's where the real work of support comes from. What does this even mean? Like, what does this mean to say, yeah, this will go towards community organization? That's so vague. Like, what does this even mean? This could be anything. It's probably just gonna end up going to, some activist group that's gonna promote this even more, as if we don't have enough of this already in society. The strength and resilience of your community should inspire everyone, he said. The government previously announced in this year's budget that it would earmark $100 million, let that sink in, to benefit LGBTQI plus people. The action plan included details of where the money would go. Yeah, that was very detailed. Thanks for letting us know. Now, more than $5 million of the funding will go towards the launch of a public awareness campaign. Yeah, we're not totally aware. It's not like literally every single company changes their logo to the rainbow, although of course not in the Middle East. But, it's not like they all do that every single June. But yes, we are not aware of the 2SLGBTQIA plus ampersand asterisk community existing. I mean, it's not like they're in all the ads. They're always being pushed down our throats all the time. You can't go one area without having to constantly be reminded of their presence. But anyways, Moving on, while $7.7 million has been earmarked for data collection and community-led policy research to support federal action on LGBTQ issues, because this is what we really need in society, especially during the pandemic. Debbie Owusu-Akiya, who's definitely Canadian, Executive Director of the Canadian Centre for Gender and Sexual Diversity, yes, this is what we really need, said the strategy was long awaited and overdue, adding more supports are needed, including in schools. She said that Canada has lagged behind many other countries, such as the UK, Ireland, and the Netherlands, that already have government action plans. Well, good. Because we don't need to follow these countries' examples. These countries are all going down the drain, and so is ours, because we keep following their example. She said, figures from Statistics Canada have shown a sharp rise in hate crimes. Yeah, I don't believe that. Towards people from the 2S LGBTQIA+ communities. The Prime Minister signaled the government would look at further protections and support for people who survived conversion therapy. Whatever that means. Which he called a cruel and dangerous practice. Yeah, but apparently abortion's not. And which was criminalized earlier this year in Canada. Well, that's good to know. You know, telling LGBT that maybe there's an alternative. Oh no, that's cruel and dangerous. But you know, literally murdering children, that's okay. Government is facing calls to tighten the ban to cover practices designed to try to change someone's sexual orientation or gender identity offered online from abroad. What? Okay. Wisdom to Action Executive Director Faye Johnstone, who attended the launch, said there was a need to invest in mental health counseling for people traumatized by the discredited practice. Tens of thousands of people were subjected to it, and it's still happening today. Yeah, I don't believe that. The federal government also signaled a look at further legislative changes as part of its action plan. It plans to launch a public consultation on whether to make it illegal to perform cosmetic surgery on intersex children's genitalia till they're mature enough to give consent. What the heck? Okay. So let's get this straight. So an intersex person who basically just is a man or a boy or a girl with one of the opposite's parts, we have to wait till they're mature enough to choose their gender. But a 4-year-old can have surgery that changes them forever and blocks them from puberty because, this little girl didn't wear a dress one day, so she's a boy. It's absolutely ridiculous. Now, the strategy proposes to adopt within governments the 2SLGBTQI+ acronym, which is more inclusive and places the experience of indigenous communities at the foreground as the first 2SLGBTQI+ peoples in North America. Now, of course, were there some weirdos among the indigenous? Sure. But they were not promoted and celebrated like they are now. So, yeah. The acronym stands for Two-Spirit, Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender, Queer, Intersex, and Additional Sexuality and Gender Diverse People. The plan pledges to invest up to $10 million per year in 2SLGBTQI+ projects abroad. So yeah, it's not even enough. Now we have to spend, apart from spending $100 million on this, now we're going to spend $10 million spreading this cancer to other countries. Canada has welcomed thousands of people from LGBTQI+ communities fleeing so-called discrimination abroad and warned of rights moving backwards in many parts of the world, some closer than we'd like to admit, meaning the US, which is absolutely ridiculous. So let's get this straight. So we have the war in Ukraine. Why aren't we bringing in more Ukrainians? Well, I don't know, but we can bring in more LGBTQI+ people. Anyways, this is totally ridiculous. And it's really a shame to our country and to our government to think that this is our priority when we are facing the worst economy we've ever seen in our entire history because of unnecessary lockdowns, because of a so-called pandemic where you have a 99.997% survival rate if you're my age and a 94% survival age if you're like over 65. So again, not even a real big problem, but even though our economy is devastated, we have lockdowns, we have plenty of homeless people, this is what really needs to be done. $100 million to help the most supported group in the entire country, and $10 million to spread this overseas. So good job, Canada, and good job, Justin Trudeau. And for those of you who don't know, the Canadian Conservative leadership election is going on. We'll find out very soon who their new leader is, but I am hoping it's someone who can finally get this idiot out of office, and I really hope and pray for the best. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. See you next time.